some districts have a tendency to kind of like block the ability to access those communities. So if there's commenting abilities from outsiders, so from people outside of the district, then there's this tendency to be like, no, we don't want that. Kids might receive an inappropriate comment or things like that. But I really think instead of preventing that kind of connection building and collaboration outside of a district, we should really kind of just take a digital citizenship approach and go, okay, if we run into this kind of content that's not school appropriate, how do we handle that? Because it's going to happen whether we want it to or not at some point when they leave the school. And if we can prepare them to deal with that, then that can potentially help down the road.
Oh, I totally agree with you, Jared. I think it's really important to not make it such a safe place that we don't know how to cope when we leave the safe place.
Right.
And so I think that starts with the very youngest. I mean, one of the things we do with even 3-year-olds is the digital camera on a device is such a powerful tool because it freezes a moment that they can then talk about it or reflect on it in their 3 or 4-year-old way. And that we teach children as young as 3 that when their job is to take a picture of their friend, does your picture show your friend in the right way? And so it's the conversation that happens next is to show the picture to your friend and have a conversation if that's okay. Because who owns the picture is who's in the picture. And that's how we teach 3-year-olds. But that goes all the way back to your comment about older children and adults, about how you deal with those kinds of decisions and how you share, and that you don't take the picture that has the side of the friend's head when you really want to show their face. Those kinds of things seem very minute, but with 3-year-olds, that's where we start. It's simple things like that. And I think that helps to build the understanding and the culture towards the bigger issues that you're talking about, which is, how do you protect gentle minds and beings, and how do you help them to not be the ones who are doing the hurting?
Yeah, and I imagine right now an administrator might be listening to this and just going, yeah, but you don't have to deal with the parents who get irate with me. And I get that. I understand that. But in the long run, I still think it's better to engage in those conversations rather than kind of pat all of the walls and furniture and make sure nobody gets hurt.
Yeah, I agree. But I think we also need to teach what to do when something makes them feel icky.
Yeah.
For lack of a better word. And so what should they do if they see something that makes them feel uncomfortable? And it isn't just walk away, it's to let an adult know and then walk away.
Yep.
Because we want to know if there's something really awful getting through whatever firewalls or whatever protective mechanisms, if there are some in place. We also want them to know that they should tell someone. And so we start with that. And so I think there are some things we can do to bring kids up with good problem solving. And I do understand. I am a parent. My kids are now grown, but I do understand the want to protect them from all the ugliness in the world.
Right.
But I think they also need to be prepared to know what to do when it does happen. It's like we teach our kids to look both ways and hold our hands crossing the street, right? But at some point, they're going to cross the street without us. That's why we teach them to look both ways and not just hold our hand, right? Because if they can't cross until they're holding our hand, then they can only go where we let them go. But if we teach them, you have to look both ways, you've got to get a green light at the crosswalk, and we hold hands because you're little, then eventually they have those other skills as well.
That was golden. That was awesome.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, really good.
Well, let's be clear. The easiest way when you're overwhelmed as a parent or as an educator is to lock the doors, bar the windows, and and keep the boat going straight. And the truth is the messiness is the important part.
Yeah.
It's a whole nother conversation, but the pushing down of curriculum and the amount of pressure on people to do more and more and more and have more and more roles pushes out the feeling of permission and freedom to explore.